So good morning to everybody.
Good morning, sir.
Hope I am clearly audible to all of you.
Sir.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, sir.
Audible, sir.
Good morning.
sir.
Yeah. I hope you had your breakfast. If not, ask your mummy to serve the breakfast on your computer table, study table, and enjoy the class today. Also
Thank you,
enjoy
sir.
the breakfast. So let's start our class. Today we are going to cover a topics which is actually considered as a prerequisite for any data analytics data scientist. So this is the topic. It is related to probability and statistics. But you know, the whole concept of probability and statistics is too vast. It is not possible. And I understand that many of you, those are the UG students mainly, have gone through this course offered from the mathematics department. I'm planning this lecture today for the other students, mainly the PG and then PhD students, so that they can feel comfortable with the rest of the discussion. Now, today's topic include statistics and probability, how the two things are related or not related. Then whenever the probability and statistics come into the discussion, so understanding of one concept, it is called the concept of random variable, is very important. And then in probability, so far the statistics is concerned, there is a probability distribution concepts. So we'll quickly discuss the probability distribution concepts. And like probability distribution, in statistics, there is another concept, it is called the sampling distribution. So we'll quickly have a brief tour on different sampling distribution techniques and mainly the concept of this technique. And then finally, how all those concepts, the probability distribution, sampling distribution, random variable, all those things is applicable in the field of data analytics. So this is planned. So far this lecture number 4 is concerned, but you know the topic, it is around, the number of slides is around 100. So it is not possible to cover in a day. So I plan to cover it in 2 classes. Today I will cover whatever the portion I can, and then the rest of the topic will be covered in the next Monday class. So let's start. First, let's start about probability and statistics. Actually, the two things apparently seems that, okay, so statistics and probability, they are synonymous. Actually, not like that. In fact, probability and statistics, these concepts complements each other. So we already know what exactly the probability. So in a formal noting, probability is a chance of an outcome in an experiment. Say suppose you are tossing a coin, so it is an experiment. And what are the outcome that is possible? Head or tail. In another example, say suppose a dice, those are used in Ludo, okay, or Ludo, right? And then you know, so there are, okay, an experiment. Experiment is actually throwing a dice, and you know what are the outcome. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or it is not 0 actually, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So all possible 6 outcomes are there. So in different experiments, the different outcomes are there. Now let's come to the discussion of probability in this context of an experiment. So probability deals with predicting the likelihood of future events. Now, if I ask you, so far the experiment tossing a fair coin is concerned, if you toss a coin, what is the probability that head will come? You can tell that probability is 0.5. Some people also can say, no, I don't agree with probability is 0.51 or 0.49. Some people can say probability is 0.35. This is actually all answers are correct because you are predicting. Prediction does not necessarily give you the exact outcome or possibility of the exact outcome. I can tell you, if you toss the coin for 10 times and then count what is the percentage number, that is actually the probability occurs out of 10, right, throwings, then you can see that it is sometimes 0.35, sometimes 0.41, sometimes 0.51, likely to be 0.5, whatever it is there. So far the prediction is concerned, all answers are in fact the correct answer. So this is about the probability. Now let's consider the another consideration. So where the statistics are involved. So statistics involve the analysis of the frequency of past events. I can tell you another example. Suppose you have given a box of balls. There are maybe three red color balls, and then black color balls, and then blue color balls. And you have chosen 5 balls at random. Then could you tell about how many total number of red balls are there in the box? If this is a question posed to you, actually you can answer it with the statistics. So it is actually one event is given to you. So you have collected at random 5 balls. So this is an event. And then analysis of the frequency, that how many red ball or black ball or green balls are there in the box. I hope you could understand what are the difference between the two things, two concepts. If it is not clear, I can tell another example so that you can better understand the concept of probability. So let us first clear the concept of probability with another example. Consider there is a box containing 100 socks. 30 of them are colored red, 20 are colored blue, and 50 are colored black socks. Now, so far the probability calculation is concerned, if I ask you, what is the probability that if we draw 2 blue socks or 2 red socks from the drawer, probably you will be able to give the answer if you know a little bit probability. It's a very easy question actually in the field of probability. So this is the probability question. Another question, what is the probability that we pull out 3 socks or having matching pairs? So this problem also can be solved using the concept of probability. Another question like, what is the probability that we draw 5 socks and they are all black? So okay, fine. You are intelligent enough to solve all the probability question because you know probability. Now let's come to the statistics related question. So instead of, we have no knowledge about the types of socks in the drawer. You don't have mentioned. We have mentioned in case of probability problem, so many red, so many black, so many socks are there. But I don't say it like that. You don't know how many different types of socks are there in the box. Then, the statistical scenario comes into the picture. I can tell you a few examples so that you can follow it. A random sample of 10 socks from the drawer produced 1 blue, 4 red, and 5 black socks. So this is one what is called the fact, or it is actually one experiment you can say. Now, if you ask what is the total population of black, blue or red socks in the drawer. So this is not exactly you can solve using the concept of probability. To solve this, you need another concept, that is the statistics. And you see there are few words, rather keywords I have used, the random and then sample. So whenever, and then population. Possibly you know exactly what is the sample, what is the population. So all those things come into the picture. And in another question, we randomly sample 10 socks. So one, then return it to the box, next one, return to the box. Or if you don't return, draw all this, whatever it is there. That is a different type of experiments. And write down the number of black socks. And then, okay, so here we are returning the socks to the drawer. Okay, so it is draw a socks. Okay, check whether the number of black socks are there or not and return the socks there and so on. So the process is done for 5 times. Okay, each time you take a samples of 10 socks and count the number of black socks. Then process is done for 5 times. The mean number of socks for each of these trial is found as 7. If this is the observation given to you, then what is the true number, actual number of black socks in the drawer? So these are the 2 questions I have posed, and all these 2 questions you could answer it using the concept of statistics. So these are the examples using which you can differentiate the 2 things, probability and statistics. So here, the probability and statistics, the idea is that we are given a model. Model means the procedure, and asked what kind of data we are likely to have. In statistics, this is the reverse thing. We are given a data and asked what kind of model is likely to have generated this data. So this is the concept. So this is the concept between concept of probability and statistics. Now let's come to the another discussion which is very much related to our data analytics activity. Consider one observation. So this is related to study on health. So this health related study is concerned with to learn the number of children having measles and then possibility of number of children having measles. In a city, suppose your population is related to a particular city or region. Now in this study, what we do, we visit many couples, and couples means parents, father and mothers, and for each couple we likely to know how likely it is that either the mother or father or both have had childhood measles. This means that if father or mother or both they suffer from the measles, then it is likely that their children also suffer from the measles. So this is the hypothesis. Now, so far this study is concerned, it is also known that, so by means of census or whatever the idea, that 20% adults between the age 20 and 40, this is the age actually the childbearing ages of parents, regardless of their sex, have had childhood measles. So from the data you have known this fact actually, 20% is there. So this actually gives the probability that an individual in the city has a childhood measles. 20% means 2, right? It is the probability that an individual in the city has a childhood measles. Okay, individual obviously in the age between 20 and 40 because the census says like that. Okay, now here this is the study that we can say this study as a measles study. Now let us consider few important terminologies and we will refer to this example here also. The first terminology, which is very important, it is called the random variable. Possibly you know what is a variable. If you know a programmer in C or C++ or Java or Python, whatever it is there, you know what exactly the programmer, what is actually the meaning of variable there in a programs. So it is used to define a data and its type. But you should not mislead with this concept of variable and then the random variable that is in the context of probability and statistics. The two things are totally different. Now let's see what is the concept of random variable in our probability and statistics subjects. It says that a random variable is a rule. This rule assigns a value, obviously it is a numerical value, to an outcome of interest. If this definition is a little bit difficult to follow, I can tell you one example so that you can understand this definition quite comfortably. Now consider there is a village and in a village there are 100 families. Now you have to take a numeration about how many children are there in a family, in each family. Okay, number of children can vary from 0 to 0, 1, 2 up to say 10. 10 children maybe in a family. This is the maximum number of children possible. Now in this context, if I ask you, if you select a family at random, and what is the probability that this family has number of children, say 5. Now here, this will be solved if you apply a rule which will tell you that, okay, if this is the number of children and then this is the probability that the family have, okay, probability that this family has the number of children is say x. X can be 0.2, x can be 0.5. Now it is like throwing a coin, all probability are valid probability. That means what I want to say is that probability that the family having number of children 5 is 0. Maybe 0 or maybe 1 or maybe in any value in between this one. But this is a rule which will assign a value to that variable. I hope you have understood the concept of random variable. Now let us consider the measles study. We define a random variable x as the number of parents in a married couple who have had childhood measles. Now this random variable x can take values of 0, 1 and 2 because here the couple may not have any measles, so it is 0. Either father or mother, it is 1, and then both it is 2. Now, so this is the one example that I can tell you. Say P, it stands for probability. X is the random variable that I told you, which take any value 0, 1 and 2. And P, x equals to 1, it indicates that what is the probability that a parents, either mother or father, was suffering from measles disease. So this probability, for example, is 0.32. Now, so this is the concept of the random variable come into the picture. Now, if I ask you what is the probability that x is equals to 5, you know, this is actually, there is no probability. We can say it is undefined, or your rule cannot assign, because the random variable can have the range of value in between 0 and 10. In case of, right, the number of children in a family, the random variable can take values of 0 to 10, both inclusive, and beyond any value, or okay, that means if it is a negative value or any value, that is not accepted. Now it is not necessarily the 0 to k, it can be k1 to k2 also, any range of values. But that should be a defined range of values and meaningful in the context of a particular application. So this is the random variable. Okay, so x, capital X, from now onwards, if it is told you, then you can assume that okay, x is a random variable, and this random variable related to a particular application, whether number of children in a family or the number of parents suffering from measles, for examples. Now let's come to the discussion. Okay, if this is a random variable, and then we will see how this random variables is closely related to statistics. Now, in statistics, there is a very important concept. The concept is called probability distribution. As you know, it is distribution. Possibly you have learned the concept of distribution. So distribution means if you have given a set of data, you can easily plot a graph showing a distribution. That means how the different data are there in your set of data or sample. Now, so this is a simple distribution. Okay, so suppose you have given a box of fruits, and number of fruits may be orange, apple, mango, and then if you can plot how many oranges are there in the box, how many mangoes are there, how many apples are there, and then this will really give a graphs. On x-axis is the fruits and y-axis is their number of occurrences. So this is a distribution. But again, this distribution, probability distribution, tells about the probability of the occurrences of the different, what is called the items. So I can say the different random values of the different random variables. Now, okay, for example, you can plot a graph. Random variables say number of children in a family. So along x-axis 0, 1, ... 9, and along y-axis, what is the probability that okay, x equals to small x. Small x is any value in between 0 and 10, both inclusive. So this is the probability distribution. Now, again, let us refer to the example of measles study. And in this measles study, if x equals to 0, the probability is 0.64. So px equals to 0, it says that 0.64. Px equals to 1, it says that 0.32. Px equals to 2, this says that 0.04. Now, if you don't, if you ask me how these values, you have obtained, Definitely, those are not random values. All the probability distributions are not random values. They have obtained by assigning a rule to get it. Now, what is the rule? That rule, actually, the probability distribution is the rule. So definitely your experiment or your application satisfy a probability distribution. Now this is very important. I am telling your application or your case study satisfy a certain probability distribution. This certain probability distribution is actually the rule which assign a value to a random variable. Now we shall discuss about what are the different probability distribution in details. Now let's first clear the concept of probability distribution and then their representation. So actually in data analytics, the concept of probability distribution is very important, with which many statistics making inference about the population can be derived in a cost-effective manner. I will tell you what do you mean by the cost-effective manner, but you note down, I say that it is in a cost-effective manner. In general, a probability distribution is represented by a function This function, okay, in most of the statistical books, it is related as fx, f small f and x. It is a notation of a function x. So x is a value. Now this is actually p. P is the probability that the random variable x has the value small x. So both the things p x equals to x and fx are the same thing actually. And then there are many columns. Columns actually depends on how many values of the random variables are there. Say they are x1 to xn. And then the values of these column attributes is actually the distribution probability values. So fx1, fx2, fxn. Now as you know, so it is function. Function means it is a mapping. So definitely, if the application is different, your population is different, your sample is different, all those mapping will be different. So we have to search for what are the mappings are there or which is the mapping. This mapping is nothing but rule that assign a value to your random variable. Now let's come to the again middle study application. So we can express in this tabular form, which shown here like. In your exam, the distribution will give you in the form of a tables so that you can solve many problems. So it is the conventional what is called the notation to represent a probability distribution. Now many scientists they prefer to have a graphical view of the probability distribution. Now here you see x is a discrete values. I mean small x has the discrete values. It can be a continuous also. So I will discuss the continuous domain in later on. So if it is discrete value, so here the first x value say it is 0 and it will plot it along the x axis, that means horizontal axis, and then 0, 1, 2, here only 3. So the 3 values are there on x axis. On the other hand, probability values along the y-axis within the range 0 to 1. So if you plot it, then okay, x equals to 0 when, then fx is 0.64 and so on, so on. So along vertical axis, it is fx, and along horizontal axis, it is the value of a random variable. Okay, so we have understood about how probability distribution, okay, can be, right, can be represented, can be expressed, can be stored, and can be displayed. So this is the idea of the probability distribution concept in general, very basic concept so that any layman can follow. I hope you have followed it. If anybody have any question, so you can ask question, otherwise I will proceed. Okay, so right now you may not have any question. I request all people to please mute your microphone. Right, I see that some microphones are not muted. So please do it so that it will reduce noise for others. So please mute your microphone as well as video. Now let's come to the discussion of, I told you what is a probability distribution, nothing but a rule to assign a value to a random variable. Now then how these rules can be obtained, or we can fix a rule related to a particular application, say for example middle study. Now so far this rule framing is concerned, there are many what is called the standard rules are already known. Those standard rules, if we learn, actually framing a rule also will be done. Now these standard rules are divided into two broad categories. One is called the discrete probability distribution and then continuous probability distribution. Now, discrete probability distribution is applicable if the value of the random variable is discrete values. 0, 1, 2 or 5, 10, 15 or whatever it is there. It can be uniformly distributed or randomly distributed or non-uniformly distributed, whatever it is there. Absolutely, this is not the issue. On the other hand, if the value of a random variable is in a continuous domain, then it is called the continuous probability distribution. Now, for example, age of a person or number of children in a family, all are actually discrete values. On the other hand, what is the earning of a person? It can be a continuous values. What is the marks obtained in a subject? If the fractional marks is also allowed, or the percentiles, right, of the different students in an exam, percentile score, right? All these are continuous values. So depending on if the random value of a variable is in a discrete domain, then there are many probability distribution functions, discrete probability distribution functions. But in my lecture, I will include only 4 important of them. They are binomial, multinomial, Poisson distribution, and hypergeometric distribution. Likewise, so far the continuous probability distribution functions are concerned, there again many functions are there. But it is not possible to discuss all continuous probability distribution function in this course. I will limit to the discussion only 7 important of them. Others, learning of 1 or 2 is enough to have the concept of others, and that also I will not be able to go in details. Just it can be considered a prerequisite to satisfy the prerequisite of some people who does not have much about the probability and statistics concept. So I will not go into details because detailed discussion will make the things redundant to many of our students. So I will avoid the detailed discussion, only will just skip. But in case if you have any doubts and everything, you please get it clarified by asking question. So let's start about the probability distribution function and then discrete. Now let's see, I told you that so probability distribution functions are very important in the field of data analytics to solve many problems in a cost-effective manner. I told it, but that time I intentionally didn't clarify. Now I'll just want to explain the reason for such statement. Comment. Now, the concept is that mathematics, probability and statistics is a very new subject, is a new field, is a very old field. And then people have used them. Comparatively, data analytics is a new field. But in older study or research or the different application, people used this probability distribution in the field of simulation studies. You know what is exactly the simulation? Simulation actually to develop a model which will represent the actual view more or less accurately. Right? Now, there are many simulation experiments, possibly in the field of electronics, electrical, in computer science, in mechanical, civil, people usually do. I'll also tell you one simulation study, after 2-3 slides later. So here, what is actually simulation study? Simulation study actually is a data generator. So that means we can plan a study which will produce some data. So it is actually a data generation activity. Now, how this can be generated? So we usually use a computer to simulate certain set of data. That actually this simulate a real phenomena or process. And this should be realistic as close as possible. For example, say suppose in a village, 100 families are in your radar. How you can generate data? So you can visit all families one by one and then get the result and then store the result in a ledger book or record or register. So this is the one way of collecting data collection. But if I ask you, could you do some computer program by which you can generate that data, and that data should be more or less similar to the data which is stored in the ledger book or register? Yes. So obviously simulation study is a very intelligent approach. But what is the advantage? The advantage is that without going to field and sitting in your AC room in front of your computer, you can have the same data. So it will serve the purpose. And whatever the experiment, whatever the data analytic question that you want to ask or statistical question that you want to solve, you can solve taking this as an input source. Now you can understand which is cost effective. So field study, or if you have a program, run the program, get the data. So definitely latter one is a more cost effective way. So here is the tricks. The idea is that in many data analytics activities, you need either a population data or a sample data. But collection of sample data is possible going through a field study, or collection of sample data is possible sitting in a in a computer lab using a computer. So here is the idea. Now here the simulation study, you can do it if you have very good understanding of the concept of probability distribution function. Now let us extend the discussion with one more example. It is observed that, say, suppose a drug has been invented, say COVID vaccine, what is called the Covaxin or Covishield, a new drug, a vaccination, like vaccine medicine has been invented, and we want to test the effectiveness of the vaccine. So the idea is that it requires a study involving testing the effectiveness by counting the number of cured patients among all the patients who use such a drug. Yes, you got it? Now you can have a field study and get the data and plot the data. So plot the data means how many people, 0, 1, 2, 3, and you can plot the data either as simple data distribution or simply as a probability distribution. Then you will be surprised to know that such a data perfectly follows a probability distribution. It is called the binomial distribution. Now, so this is the observation, and based on the observation, I am telling it. You can do some experiment or do whatever it is there, maybe with your sample size small or larger, whatever it is, and you can reveal the same fact actually. Now, another example, counter. So it is a reservation counter, ticket counter, or movie counter, whatever it is there. So there is a counter, and if I ask you what is the probability that this number of customer will come to your counter, or we can say what is the probability that say 5 customer will come to your counter at a particular time, say 10 hours, or another say 5 p.m. So here operation of ticketing system in any public establishment or private establishment, whatever it is there, for example, in case of airport or railway reservation counter or whatever it is there, the arrival of passengers or clients, customer, can be simulated using a distribution function. It is called the Poisson distribution. Now, both this binomial distribution and Poisson distribution, it is not necessary to mentioned explicitly that they are applicable to discrete random variable. So they are discrete probability distribution function. So you can understand, in order to calculate the number of data so far a counter is concerned, you don't have to sit for 3 days or 1 day from early morning to late night and then count it. Okay, you just have a simulator. This simulation program will simulate the Poisson distribution or write a program according to the Poisson distribution, and it will populate your data. That's all. So this is the usages of probability distribution function, which I can tell in fewer words. Now let's come to the discussion of discrete probability distribution functions. As I told you, binomial, then hypergeometry, multinomial, Poisson distribution, all these things I have already told you. So let us have little bit insight of all those distribution functions so that we can follow it clearly. So let's first start with the binomial distribution. So this is little bit mathematically rigor, but if you can follow slowly, and eventually we have around 20 minutes or so, and my plan is to cover all these 4 distribution functions, so 5 minutes each. I think we will be able to cover it comfortably, but let's go in a slow space so that you can understand each and every things those are there in each distribution function. Now, in many applications, there are only 2 outcomes are possible. The outcome may be yes or no, success or failure, true and false, on and off, that is like. So the outcome is called the binary outcomes. So such a binary outcomes in the book of statistics, it is called dichotomous outcome. If an outcome has only 2. So tossing a coil is in fact a dichotomous outcome. But throwing a ludo, it is not a dichotomous outcome. If you have a target and you have to shoot the targets, then it is a dichotomous outcome. Because here the outcome is either you will hit or you will not hit. That means miss. Whenever you fire, it will hit or not miss a target. So this is the dichotomous outcome. Now, an experiment, when consists of repeated trials, that means you are firing repeatedly. Say 10 firings is one trial, right? Each with dichotomous outcome is called a process, and it is called the Bernoulli process. And each trial in it is called a Bernoulli trial. Now, let us consider another example to pinpoint the whole things more clear. Firing bullets to hit a target. I was talking about this example. Suppose in a Bernoulli process, we define a random variable Px equals to the number of successes in trials. Right? If I say what is the probability that in a trial, right, he will hit, right, out of 10, right, he will hit 5 times. So number of success is 0.59. Now such a random variable obeys the binomial probability distribution function if the experiment satisfies the conditions. There are 4 conditions. The experiment consists of n trials. N should be greater than 1. It can be any large values, or it can be greater than 0 also. That is also valid. Each trial results in one of 2 mutually exclusive outcomes. So success or failure, but at the same time it is not possible to have both. Just like a fair coin, success or failure only, but there is not possibility that both will come at the same time. So mutually exclusive outcomes. One is success, another is failure, yes or no, true or false, whatever you can say. Now, another condition, the probability of a success should be known to you priori. for a single trial, and let it is equal to P. For example, a shooter's efficiency. So it is actually decided by the probability of hitting a target. So is a good shooter, the p-value can be very close to 1, and for a worse shooter, the p-value may be very close to 0. And the moderate skilled shooter, the p-value can be very close to 0.5. So the value of P remain constant throughout this Bernoulli process. And the most important condition is that the trials are independent. That means you're shooting the next firing is independent of the previous firings, no way related. If it is dependent, then it is not the binomial distribution, it is another distribution I will discuss later on. So these are the 4 conditions. If it satisfied in a Bernoulli process, then we can say that it is a Bernoulli, it is a Bernoulli process. Okay, in each trial, if it satisfies, then it is a Bernoulli process. And in the Bernoulli process, 2 things are there. How many trials are involved in your Bernoulli process? That is, N is an input, and P is the probability of success. Right? You can tell also why not probability of failure. Actually, both are the same thing, right? So probability of success is same as probability of 1 minus failure, or whatever it is, 1 minus probability of failure. So if you know one and you can't know other, because the sum of the 2 probability values is always 1. So it is like this. So no issue, right? Only for the sake of general discussion, we consider that this is success is the only consideration. Okay, so this is the idea. Now let's see how this function, that is the rule, or if I ask you to write a function in C programming, how you can write a program. So this is the equation. It will help you to write the program very effectively. This will in fact return what is the distribution value for a particular random variable is equals to X. So here probability that there is a success, and this success, number of success is X. So Px, capital X is equal to small x. This is equal to Fx. So this is n factorial divided by x factorial into n minus x factorial, and multiplied by p to the power x into 1 minus p to the power n minus x. And then x is the range of random values of the random variable 0 to n. This is because if you have the n trials, so this value, that means number of hit can be 0, not a single hitting, and number of hitting can be alls, maybe n. So this is the range of values. So that's all. So x is the number of successes. Okay, and that is the distribution function according to binomial distribution. So if I ask you that drug investigation case, what is the probability if it is say 0.75 for the Covishield, and for Covaxin it is 0.81, and given this, what is the probability that out of 100 patients or the people, right, if it is in vaccinated, then that they will be cured, and then it is actually, this is the concept. Okay, you will be able to collect the data without going to the field, without going to take the samples from the actual world, and then you can just generate the data, and that data can be enough to give the decision in some application. Now, so this binomial distribution function, if you plot in the form of a graph, right? As I said that it is discrete. It is a discrete distribution function. So discrete probability distribution function, and then it will look like this one. Okay, as shown is in this figure. Binomial distribution function, obviously for the different p values and different k values, it is there. Okay, so this is the concept that you can have it, right? And then the graphical display, so just only for the matter of illustration that how it looks like. Any distribution function can be, as I told you, as a visual appeal, as well as you can store either in the form of a tables or in the form of a rule, and this rule is like this form equation. So this is the binomial distribution. Now let's come to the again Mizel study. You can remember I told you that probability distribution function shown in a table where px equals to 0 is 0.64, px equals to 1 is 0.32, px equals to 2 is 0.04, like this. Now, if you exactly have the binomial distribution function and then obtain it, so then you can get the value, and if you have the calculator, you can calculate it. And in this case, n equals to 2, because n the number of trials. For in a family, a parents, they are the trials. Or you have a couple in an experiment and an individual a trial, and the number of trials is 2 there. Because you visit a parents, right, there are only 2 people involved. And then P is equals to 0.2. Note it down. What is the probability that the people having childhood measles, that is 0.2. This is actually probability of success. So far this measles study is concerned. X actually is the random variable having, people have childhood measles, a success. So this is actually, then you can say this table obtained not getting the result from the field, rather getting the result according to the binomial distribution function. Now, if we want to collect the data in other ways, suppose not this binomial distribution, say for example, picking some random families and then knowing their childhood measles or not so, and then taking the count, and then we can check it or you can verify it, how actually this binomial distribution establish the fact that, okay, it is follow the distribution function actually. Now, I can tell you one very famous simulation experiment for the same purpose. It is called the Monte Carlo simulation. It is a very important. Those are the people working in the field of operation research, in the field of computer science. Those are computer scientists. They are very familiar with this Monte Carlo simulation method. Now, so what is the method here? Suppose 10 random numbers, each of 2 digits are generated by a computer. This is a very easy function, is there in C or any other programming language, by which you can generate as many as random number, but we will consider only 10 random numbers for the discussion, because more than 10 numbers I will not be able to fit into the slides. So 10 random numbers are generated. All numbers are 2 digit using a computer. Now suppose these are the numbers obtained in a, while you run the program. 15, 38, 68, 39, 49, 54, and so on. Now let us consider one, what is called the one, you can say the tricks, whatever it is there. So say if the value of the digit is either 0 or 1, then I will assume that the outcome is had childhood measles. Now, for example, 1, 5, the first digit, first 2 digit numbers. So there is 1 digit is 1 and another digit is 5. Let's see the first digit related to the mother and then second digit related to the father. This means that, I can assume that, for this number, the significance of this number or interesting point in this number is that mother was having measles but not father. So it is 1. Now 38, neither mother, father, they have their measles. So it is 0. And so on, so on. But here no family is found that both of them have measles like this one. Now I am telling you, this is why I am telling you why 2 digit number I have generated, why not 3 digit number or not a single digit number, whatever it is there. My observation is that 20% is the people having this one. If it is 30% people, then I could consider 3 digit number so that 0, 1 and 2 can be considered in our studies. So as only 20%, so only 2 out of 10, that is actually the fact, and that is why we have considered 2-digit number. And then, so 0, 1 you can consider, or alternatively 4 and 5 also you can consider, or any 2 random digits out of 0 to 9 also you can consider. That also will reflect the same fact. So it is just, okay, beauty of this experiment and beauty of the mathematics, actually, you can say. Now, okay, that's fine. So these are the data that is actually, okay, we can say so far the real life field study is concerned related to the visiting 10 family and like that. So if we plot fx, that means what is the probability that x equals to x? X can be value 0, 1, 2. And it is just like we see that 0 means both of the parents does not have the, didn't have any childhood measles. As you see, 38, 68, 39, 49, 54, 79, 38. These are the number in your count. So it is total 7 out of 10, so 0.7. Now, how many of them have either mother or father has the measles? So it is 1, 5, 1, 9 and 1, 4. So take 3 out of 10, so 0.3. And then both it is 0, it is like. Now, so 0.7, 0.3, 0.0, this is the data revealed by an experiment. It is called the Monte Carlo simulation experiment. And you see, actually, it is very close to 0.64, 0.32 and 0.04. It is not exact value, but it is okay. So these are the so close value. We can be very happy that real life experiment and then simulation experiment, okay, both are satisfied or established the fact. So it is actually the concept it is there, and this is about the binomial distribution. I think my time will not permit to start with another multinomial distribution. So from the multinomial distribution onwards, we can start discussion from the next class. Okay, I want to stop my discussion here today. If you have any question, so please feel free to ask any questions right now. I can take few questions here.